皆さんこんにちは。Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk about the co-expertise process after Fukushima accident in 2011. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Ryoko Ando, and I'm president in non-profitable organization Fukushima Dialogue, and I'm also a writer, and now I'm a PhD student in the university. And originally I was born in Hiroshima and raised there till the age of 18. And I went to the University of Tsukuba in Ibaraki Prefecture, and I started to live in Fukushima since 2003 with my husband, who was from Minamisoma. And so it was 8 years before the nuclear accident. And after Fukushima accident, I started several volunteer activity. The first is a measurement activity with residents in Suetsugi, the northern tip of Iwaki. And the second is a participation and then organizing the Fukushima dialogue. And the third is writing books, and the fourth is studying about the situation after the nuclear accident academically. So today I will explain about the first two topics in this lecture. And here is a timeline of what I have done after the Fukushima accident. So in 2012, I started my volunteer activity, and the organization name I organized first is the Ethos in Fukushima, and I conducted the measurement activity in Suetsugi till 2020. And at the same time, I participated the ICRP dialogue, and still the dialogue is continuing. And once I have been to Richland in 2018, the photo was taken when I visited the Hanford site 2018. I participated in the conference about the low dose radiation, which held by the Nuclear Society in the US. And I wrote about this experience in my book. That name is Steve and Bonnie. Okay, and this is today's lecture's content. First, I will explain about the Suetsugi project from 2011 to 2020. And second, I will explain about the Fukushima dialogue from 2011 onward. And third, I will explain co-expertise process. So now I'm talking about the Suetsugi project 2011 to 2020. How to tame the radiation in the living conditions. So first, I would like to confirm the place of Suetsugi and Fukushima. And Fukushima is Karat in Japan. And so the right map is Fukushima Prefecture, and Iwaki is Karat. I live in Iwaki, and Suetsugi is the northern tip of Iwaki. And Suetsugi is also 30 kilometer radius from the NPP. So the Suetsugi is approximately 27 kilometers from the TEPCO Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power station. And at that time, number of the inhabitants was 386 people. Most of the community are dual income farmers from 3 generations living together, and many households grew their own rice and vegetables. It's a very rural area. And what happened in Suetsugi on 11 March 2011? Suetsugi is located at the coast side of Fukushima Prefecture, so the tsunami hit to 7 people were killed by tsunami and 15 houses fully collapsed by the tsunami. So they were also heavily damaged by tsunami before the nuclear accident. And 13 March, Iwaki City arranged buses for voluntary evacuation. So almost all residents evacuated. Before that, residents did not aware the situation of the nuclear power plant at all, so they were surprised at the bus. But anyway, they are all evacuated. And the next day, indoor evacuation zone area, which were designated by the government. And 1 month later, 21st April, the evacuation order was lifted, and most elderly households returned to their homes, but the younger generation would not come back to their homes. And so this is photos of the Suetsugi in 2012. At that time, many residents in Suetsugi said Suetsugi was abandoned by the authorities because no one would like to come to Suetsugi because they fear the radiation seriously. So only a few number of residents continued to live there, but they didn't know what to do about the radiation. And also the Suetsugi was hit by tsunami heavily. Maybe you can see the collapsed house in the photo. And it was already one year after the tsunami, but still these collapsed houses remained in Suetsugi. And at that time, so people had many concerns. So is this place safe or dangerous to live? I don't have any clue about Becquerel and Sievert. And many experts insist on different views. Who is right? And what is the risk in Suetsugi? Can our grandchildren come to visit us with their parents? What is the effectiveness of decontamination? Can we eat the products of our gardens? Will I ever be able to resume my farming business? Are you surely trustworthy? So they had a lot of questions, but no one could answer properly. In this situation, some residents in Suetsugi started to their volunteer works to measure the environmental radioactivity. So you can see the photos, and first they started to measure the air dose rate, and then they measured the soil contamination. And I think several tens residents joined these volunteer activities. And so here is a map they created after measuring. First, August 2011, volunteers started to measure activities planning. And in November, they started to measure the soil contamination and air dose rate. And till March 2012, they created these contamination maps. And one of the volunteers asked me to cooperate with risk communication with residents. He said, anyway, he could measure the radioactivity and create the map, but we cannot discuss about the situation because we lack the knowledge of the radioactivity. At that time, I already started my volunteer activity to study about the radiation. So he asked me to cooperate in the Suetsugi district. This is the first step of our activities. And so we have been conducting many activities, and this is a photo of the meeting among the residents and the experts in July 2012. Some ICRP experts came to Suetsugi, and we had a meeting to discuss about the situation. And this is another meeting with Dr. Makoto Miyazaki. Dr. Miyazaki was a radiologist in Fukushima Prefecture, and he visited to Suetsugi for many times to discuss with the residents about the measurement result. And this is a visit of the radioactive temporary storage site in March 2013. So the huge decontamination work was implemented by the authority after the Fukushima accident, and the decontamination work generated so many waste, and so these bags were all waste by the decontamination work. And we also measured the garden food product. As I already explained, Suetsugi was a very rural area, and most of all residents grew up their own vegetables and rices. So they would like to measure their product by themselves. So our activities in Suetsugi is mainly to measure the radioactivity level in living conditions. And there are three types of the measurement. First is the external exposure, and the second is the internal exposure, and the third is the food measurement. And so this is the outcomes of the measurement activities. And this line graph shows each resident's exposure level, and the bar graph shows the whole picture of the exposure, external exposure, from 2014 to 2016. So you can see the level of the exposure is decreasing gradually. And this is a result of the whole body counting measurement campaigns. And first we conducted in June 2015. At that time, 5 people was measured above the detectable doses, but the number is decreasing gradually too. And every time we conducted the measurement, we hold a small meeting with residents, and Dr. Makoto Miyazaki, the local expert, visited to Suetsugi and discussed about the result. And we also published the community newsletter. This name was Suetsugi Diary, and we informed all residents about the results of the measurement activity. And so we also hold the food stuff measurement once a week. So if residents would like to confirm the safety of their product, they could brought their product to their community house and measure the radioactivity level. We called these measurement activities a Suetsugi project. So we distribute of D-shuttle. D-shuttle is the name of the dosimeter equipment, and we distributed of the shuttle dosimeter to the community, and we hold biannual whole body counting campaigns, and we also hold weekly food staff measurement sessions at the community center, and we also distribute the publication as a newsletter of Suetsugi Diary, and one part-time counselor worked at the Suetsugi Center, and she helped to measure the radioactive level, and scientific and technical support from Fukushima Medical University experts. This is from the Dr. Makoto Miyazaki. And these activities are financed by the Iwaki City from January 2015 to March 2017. And then from 2017, FMU financed, FMU is Fukushima Medical University, was financed our activity. So this is a timeline of the Suetsugi measurement activity. First, there are some volunteer residents started creating the radiation map, and then we started the external exposure measurement, and then we started the whole body counting. At the same time, we started the food staff measurement. And these activities continued till 2020. And many residents in Suetsugi were worried about the safety of food staff measurement. So we continued the food staff measurement in 2020. And so the local leader of Suetsugi played a key role in this measurement activity. And so Hiroshi Takagi is the mayor of Suetsugi at that time, and Shinya Endo, he started the volunteer measurement in Suetsugi first, and me and Dr. Makoto Miyazaki, and the Miss Maiko Momma, she is a counselor of the radioactive measurement, and these local leaders played a great important role in the process, because without local leaders, nothing would started. And we can get lessons from Suetsugi community experience. So their initiative to regain control of the situation after a nuclear accident came more from those affected. So this is the reason why the local leader is important. So the key was for them to find local leaders, experts, and professionals to support them in their approach to take ownership of the situation. And their experience played a key role complementary to the recovery actions implemented by the local, regional, and national authorities. So actually, we could not so much help from the authorities, because the authority had their own rules. So sometimes it was difficult to adapt the real situation in local communities. But our activity, like our activity, it's a totally private organization, could help the local community as they wish. So the relationship between the authority and the local private organization are complementary one. And so the most important thing was reclaiming the self-confidence and autonomy of each resident and community. So this is the most important lesson from the Suetsugi measurement activity. So I will talk about the Fukushima dialogue in the second section, how to share the common vision among stakeholders in a fragmented environment. So the ICRP Fukushima dialogue was started by ICRP in 2011, and it is still continuing, but the organization was changing according to the shift of the time. So first, background, why ICRP started the dialogue in 2011. So they have the experience in Chernobyl in 1986. So the experience of Chernobyl had shown that an effective dialogue between experts, authorities, and affected people is a condition for the latter to become actively involved in the recovery process and to gradually regain control of the situation they are facing. And to be successful, such dialogue requires that some experts and authorities who mastered radiological risk make a long-term commitment to respond to the questions and concerns of those affected. And the dialogue is also the condition for developing the practical radiological protection culture, which is essential for people to regain confidence and recover their dignity. So based on these views, they started the dialogue in Fukushima. And the principle guiding the organization of the dialogue seminars, so there are local and international observers, and we had also simultaneous Japanese-English translation, and we use common language, and we adapted some kind of the methodological way, which name is IDPA grid. And there are 3 steps in the IDPA grid. First step, in-turn participants give their views for 5 minutes each. Interruptions are not allowed, and there are no discussions among the participants. And the second step, after listening his or her counterparts, each participant gives his or her view in 3 minutes. The objective is to give the opportunity to everyone to deepen or even change his or her thinking in the light of the others. And the third step, the main lessons are summarized by a rapporteur, followed by a general discussion. And these discussions are all open to the media. And so this is a feature of the Fukushima dialogue, and how to operate is almost the same content as I already explained. And background philosophy in the right corner is also important. Equity among the participants, and all participants are treated equally with equal opportunity and time to speak. And transparency. So the dialogue is open to the public and media coverage. And then inclusiveness. So all participants from as many different backgrounds as possible. Based on these philosophies, dialogue were managed relatively well even after the turmoil of the nuclear accident. And this is a scenography of the dialogue seminars, and so you can see the theme, and there is a participant at the seat, and the behind of the participant there are seats for the general audience, and so co-chairpersons and facilitator facilitate all discussions. And this is a photo of the dialogue, and so we made a round table like this, like in this photo. So and we discuss seeing each other's face. And from 2012 to 2015, the ICRP Dialogue Initiative was implemented. This is the first series of the dialogue meeting, and at this stage, ICRP facilitated all things, and they also organized the dialogues themselves. And between 50 to 80 invited participants and observers participate in the dialogue, and they exchanged their views. And so some other foreign organization supported to the dialogue. And all dialogues video are recorded by the Ethos in Fukushima, and the Ethos in Fukushima was the organization I organized. And so if you would like to see the videos, you can see in the website of Ethos in Fukushima. And at the stage of the first series of the dialogue, ICRP holds 12 dialogues till 2015. Here is photos of the all dialogues, and the second dialogue was held in Date City, and Date City was the main place to hold the dialogue. And Iwaki, Minamisoma, Date, you can see, and Fukushima City. And so there was an international workshop after 12 dialogues. It was also held in Date City, December 2015. And here is a list of the all 12 dialogues. And we continue the second series of the dialogue. The name, at this stage, the name of the dialogue changed in the Fukushima dialogue. And some participants requested to continue the dialogue after finishing the first stage of the dialogue. And some local participants started to join organizing the dialogue itself. So I myself started to join managing the dialogue at this stage. Okay. Here is photos of the second series of the dialogue from 2016 and 2018. And at this stage, we started to hold the dialogue in the evacuation areas. So you can see the Miyakoji. Miyakoji is a Tamura city, and Iitate village, and Kawauchi village, and Futaba Okuma, And then again Datecity and Yamakiya. Yamakiya is in Kawamata town, and Minamisoma, Iwaki. So this is a list of the 8 meetings of the second series of the dialogue. And then from 2019, we have been holding the third series of dialogues. And at this stage, the number of the holding the dialogue is decreasing. Nowadays, so we hold the dialogue once per year. And this is a list of the 5 meetings of Fukushima dialogues so far. And this is a map of the location we hold the dialogue so far. And so the main lessons from 25 dialogues. So the 25 dialogue meetings clearly showed these things. So the difficult dilemma for affected people to stay or leave or to return or not the affected areas, and the societal and economic consequences of evacuation and decontamination, the discrimination of affected inhabitants, products and areas, the role of measurements of radiation levels and individual exposure to communicate and involve people in the recovery process, and the importance of respecting ethical values in the development of the recovery process. And the discussion with affected people gradually highlighted the following ethical values. So this ethical value is also important to in the process of the rehabilitation, and so beneficence and non-maleficence, and prudence, justice, and dignity. And so implementing protective actions and economic development must involve the stakeholders in all honesty and openness, and in explaining, justifying, and taking responsibility for the proposed actions. So these are summarized in inclusiveness, transparency, accountability. So these values coincide with those structuring the radiological protection system. So ICRP is an authoritative organization in the field of the radiological protection. So these ethical values are reflected in the publication by the ICRP. So this is concluding about the Fukushima dialogue. So dialogue meetings have demonstrated the effectiveness of inclusive risk communication, and they gave rise to rich testimonies, particularly as regards the human dimension of the accident, which will be a precious legacy of the people of Fukushima for improving preparedness and supporting affected people in case of a nuclear accident in the future. And from 2020, the dialogue meetings are completely in the hands of local residents through the NPO Fukushima Dialogue, which now I organize. And the lessons of the dialogue meeting have been incorporated in the recent ICRP recommendations published in 2020. So you can see this experience in the ICRP publications too. And this is my conclusion: dialogue as a forum for exploring a common language. So identifying challenge in the affected areas through dialogue and sharing them with society. So over time, the situation in the affected areas will become more diverse and complex, and the number of stakeholders will increase. So establishing a system to share issues appropriately according to the changing situation at any given time is crucial after the nuclear accident. So now I'm talking about the core expertise process. So how to recover from a nuclear accident and ensure community sustainability. So first, what we learned from nuclear accident in Belarus and Japan. So Belarus means the Chernobyl accident. Involvement of the affected people in the recovery process after nuclear accident is very effective to empower them on how to protect themselves about radiation risk and the necessary condition to regain trust in authorities and experts. And so require press to dialogue to understand their concerns, implement an inclusive radiation monitoring system. This is fundamental to in the recovery process. And so require time and support from experts as a service of the affected people. And called the core expertise process by the International Commission on Radiological Protection. So ICRP recommend this process as a core expertise process. Here is the core expertise process, so there is first we have to establish the dialogue with stakeholders to share experience and knowledge, and implement local projects to ensure decent and sustainable living conditions, and engage affected people in measurement to develop practical radiological protection cultures. So these processes are combined by two-way communication. So we need to continue to have a dialogue among stakeholders. Stakeholders means local residents and experts and authorities. So through this process, citizens can participate in the process, and citizens are also empowered by this process. And also technical expertise is necessary because dealing with radioactivity is also important. So when we cope with radiation issues, we need the technical expert too. And trust building is also crucial. Without trust, we could not do anything. So there are the three pillars of the core expertise process. First is a dialogue, so listening to testimonies of stakeholders, sharing concerns, values, experience, and expertise, and favoring empathy. So this is a very first step of the core expertise process. We have to start with dialogue, and then measurement. So measurement make visible the invisible, and measurement can share results to interpret measurements, right? And the development of practical radiological protection culture and identification of protective actions. So in the environment after the nuclear accident, so measurement is also crucial. And then local project. So self-help protection actions and collective vigilance and improvement of living conditions, ensuring individual well-being and quality of the living together. So a local project ensure the local community sustainable. And so the key characteristics of the co-expertise process. So these three pillars are interrelated: dialogue, measurement, local project. And the process are generally initiated by a series of the dialogue followed by measurement, leading to self-help protective actions. So working in parallel during the recovery phase. So, and this is a dynamic process. Evolution in time of topics of the dialogue meetings, type of measurements, and type of projects. And the first dialogue focused on the risk of radiation, but progressively the focus is shifting to implementation of protective actions, individual and collective, and finally focused on the issue related to the recovery and reconstruction process. And so it's really true. And so when we reflect the process of after the nuclear accident, at the first stage, we extensively focused on the radioactive issues at the very early stage, but then our concerns were changing little by little, and at the recent stage, how to improve our living condition is the most important issues for the affected areas. And I will summarize the discussion. And first, so Chernobyl and the Fukushima experience have shown that to be successful, the co-expertise process must rely on governance mechanisms securing and an open dialogue between all stakeholders, measurement by affected people themselves, experts at the service of the affected people, the empowerment of individuals and local communities, the strong ethical principles, support of authorities, and time. And so time is needed to build a mechanism to ensure the recovery process sustainable. And also time is necessary to build a trust between the stakeholders. So we had to take time to build the trust. I think more than 5 years or so. So it is a very important factor, and it must also promote local projects improving the well-being of individuals and the quality of the living together of the community they belong. And when engaging affected people, experts should adopt a prudent approach for managing radiation risk based on the optimization principle, and keeping all exposure as low as reasonable achievable, taking into account societal, environmental, and economic factors. So this phrase explains about the optimization principle. And so after the nuclear accident, so many experts come into the affected areas, and the experts are seriously motivated to contribute to the recovery of the affected area, but very often they failed because most of the experts first would like to explain in some kind of a top-down way, but resident would not trust experts just after the accident. So first, experts have to listen the residents' concerns and residents' voices. So, and keep in mind that the issue at stake is not to make people accepting the risk, but allowing them to make informed decisions about their protection and their life choices. So this is another important aspect. So for residents, the most important thing is to improve their living condition and to regain their life. So, but unfortunately, many experts forget this important aspect. So please keep in mind this aspect. Okay, so this is a final remark of today's lecture. So the core expertise process integrates all the ingredients of inclusive risk governance. So today, so what I have talked today is all risk governance problems. So and so to implement the process, experts and professionals must strengthen their theoretical and practical skills on involving stakeholders, practicing dialogue, and building trust. So this is also important things. So the establishing the relationship among the stakeholders is fundamental in the recovery process after the nuclear accident, but many people don't aware of these important factors. So please keep in mind. So the building trust is crucial. The key of success is to put science and technology at the service of resolving the concrete problem people are facing. So almost all people those who are affected by the nuclear accident want to recover their own life. So they don't want to learn about the science and technology, but sometimes many authority and experts would them teach teach the science and educate them, but it's not interest to. So it's not interesting to the residents, and sometimes the residents get angry the attitude of the authorities and experts. So important is put science and technology at the service of the residents. And the lessons of the dialogue meeting and the末続co-expertise process have been incorporated in recent ICRP recommendation published in 2020. So these ICRP recommendations can be downloaded. I don't know it's for free or so, but anyway, you can see this publication. And so I would like to introduce some references. So this is a website of the Fukushima Dialogue, and all past materials were uploaded on the website of the Ethos in Fukushima. So if you access the website Ethos in Fukushima, you can see all the PowerPoint slide and the record on YouTube. And this is the Suetsugi video. we made the short movie about the experience of 末継ぎ, and the title is Regaining Confidence After the Fukushima Accident, the story of the 末継ぎ community. And this video is 20 minutes or so, and we prepared the English version and Japanese version, and also French version. So you can see what happened after the nuclear accident in 末継ぎ through this video. And so this is the NPO Fukushima Dialogue's website. Now I'm organizing this NPO Fukushima Dialogue, and still I'm continuing to organize the Fukushima Dialogue, and the record of the recent dialogues are also published on our website. So there is a English page too. Of course, there is a Japanese page. And this is the paper about the dialogue. So you can read these articles on the website if you search. And I think this is for free. So an overview of the dialogue meeting initiated by ICRP in Japan after the Fukushima dialogue. So if you are interested in, please check it on the website.
関係者の方々同士の信頼、トラストが一番大事というお話を頂戴しましたけれども、安藤さんのお立場といいますか、これまでのご活動の中で構築できたその信頼の何ですか、あり方というか、信頼のあり方に対する見方に対して何か変化があったのかって伺いたいのと、あとこの十数年間の中で一番その信頼を構築するということに関して一番苦労したな、あるいは気をつけたなっていうことがあれば教えてください。
そうですね、信頼は変わったと思うのはやっぱり時間がかかるっていうのはすごく身に染みて分かりました。で最初の頃はやはり私もサイエンスナレッジベースで科学的な知識をベースでやったら信頼ってできるのかなと思っていた節がないわけでもないんですけれども、やっぱり実際に直面してみて思ったのはそれではもう絶対ダメなんだと。最初に知識で持ってきたとしても入り口の段階でシャットアウトされてしまうっていうところはすごく感じました。でその信頼構築していくのってやっぱりこの日々の積み重ねっていうか、この人はこういうふうにやったらこういうふうな反応をしてくるんだっていうのを互いに見極めながら作っていくところがあるので、最終的に感じるのはなんというかその人そのものがやることを全て賛成するという意味での信頼っていうのは存在しないと。でも結局できたのはこの人はこういうことをするんだなって予測がつくと。でその予測をつくところが受け入れられない範囲ではない。そうでなければ言うことを跳ねつけたりしないでコミュニケーションを取ることが可能になる。でそういうレベルの信頼なのかなっていうところは感じてます。で最も苦労したのはやっぱり一番最初の時ですよね。最初の時っていうのは私も末継ぎ地区の人にとっては他人なわけです。全く見も知りもしない人間が来て、でちょっとお手伝いしますと言って、でそこで信頼を得る、この人の言うこと本当に信用していいのかなって思ってもらえるまでがやはり一番大変で、時間が経ってくるに従ってだんだんとこの人はそんな少なくとも悪い気持ちでやってきてるんじゃないんだなっていうところから理解してもらえて、でだんだんやってること自体がこれは自分にとって役に立つんだなっていう納得感が得られてきて、初めてなんというか警戒心なしに話してもらえるようになったかなというところがあります。 なのでやっぱり最初の段階が一番難しいのは難しかったかなというふうに思ってます。
ちょっと内容に当てはまる質問かどうかちょっとわからないんですけれども、なんか原発事故が起きた後、例えば今、結構時間が経ちましたね。でも例えば他の県からなんか福島に、移る時にやっぱりあんまり福島に来たがらないという日本人多いかどうかというのをちょっとお聞きしたいと思って、またなんか福島からちょっとやっぱりいろんな原発の影響があるので、もうできるだけ早く出ていきたいという日本人もいるかどうかというのをちょっとその現状をちょっと知りたいと思います。
そうですね。話を県外の方としている時にごくたまにですけれども福島に来るって言ったら周りの人に「そんなとこ行くの?」みたいなことを言われたという話を聞くことはないわけではないです。ただその頻度というのは昔というか事故直後に比べればもうかなり減ってて、最近聞いたらちょっといまだにそんな人いるんだってびっくりする程度かなというふうには思ってます。でただこれは私は原発事故のチェルノブイリの原発事故の後の話とかも聞いているんですけれども、旧ソ連のとかではかなり事故の後20年とか以上にわたって他の地域の人は原発の被災地には行きたくないっていうことが続いてたという話も聞いてるのでまるっきりゼロになるのはなかなか難しいかなというところはちょっと感じてます。で福島県外から出ていきたいっていう福島県内から県外に出ていきたいという人についてはもう今もう12年13年経ってますので、そういう方の多くはもう引っ越されてる人が多いんじゃないかなというふうには感じてます。でたまに福島県から出ていきたいっていう人はそれはいなくはないんですけれども、放射能への恐れっていうよりは他の暮らしづらさの面ですね。でそれは必ずしも事故に関係してたりしてなかったり両方だと思うんですけれども、で放射能よりは他の要素で出ていきたいという人の方が出ていきたい場合は多いだろうというふうには思ってます。
それに関連しての質問なんですけど、関連するかわからないんですけど、今後の福島ダイアログの活動においてまた新たな10年っていう節目というか節目でもないですけど、今後の課題として今一番こうしたいな、あるいはこれが難しいなと思っていることがありましたら教えてください。
福島ダイアログの活動はこれまでステークホルダーの人たちの間の対話ということで相互理解を深めるという面に重点を置いてやってきたんですけれども、もちろん相互理解を深めてそれぞれのプレイヤーがその結果をそれぞれのフィールドに持って帰ってまた新たな活動をするという意味での意義というのはもちろん大きいんですけれども、一方で実際問題廃炉をどうしていくかとかこの先の地域原発事故のあった地域をどうしていくかという時に意思決定プロセスを構築していかないとどうにも現実自体が変わらないという側面がありまして、でそこのことは私たちのNPO の仲間と話してても今課題として上がっているところです。でどうしても意思決定というのは行政が行うことなので、その行政も巻き込んで、一緒に考える場というのを構築していかないと現在のところ廃炉のプロセスとかで地元の住民の人たちっていうのは参画できてないところがありますので、それについて一方的に東電の説明を聞いて政府の説明を聞くというのではなくもっと住民と相互理解を深めながら住民の意見も生かしてもらえるような反映させてもらうような意思決定の在り方っていうふうに変えていくための何かできないかなというのを現在 NPO の活動として模索しているところです。
トライシティーズの学生たちが研修で福島浜通りを訪れるんですが、 犯行のサイトで長崎原爆のプルトニウムを生成していたということで、長崎見ましょうと。でこっちに来る途中だから広島も見ましょうと。浜通りも見ますよと。でその広島になんで行くのかっていうところはいいんじゃないのぐらいの感じになっちゃってるんですけど、今ここでやっぱり安藤さんが噛んでくれたことによって、一つ広島との接点みたいなのも感じられると。で安藤さんちょっと難しい質問かもしれないですけど、その長崎広島福島と見ていくことに何か安藤さんが意味を感じたりすることもあるのか、逆にこういうとこ注意ではないんですけどちょっと留意してほしいなみたいなことがもしあれば、なかったらなしでバッサリ全部で。
いやそんなこと大丈夫です。
結構すごいですよ。最初長崎行くんですよ。いきなり最初飛行機で来て長崎行って、で向こうから長崎で長崎大学をで広島に行ってで浜通りっていうコースを予定してて、そうなるんですけど。
原発事故の前の私なんですけども、広島出身なんですけれども、その原子力とか原発とかについては基本的に全く関心がなかったんですね。で原爆については広島で育ってますので、平和記念資料館に行ったりだとか、そういうことを他の人と一緒にやってますので、ある程度は知ってはいたんですけれども、それについて特に何か思うこともなく育ってきたと。で実際自分が福島で原発事故に直面して、でこういうふうにいろんな活動をしてきてって気づいたのは、やっぱり原子力の歴史ということがすごく影響してるなというのは気づきました。で皆さんもご存知のように、その原子力というのはアメリカで最初に開発されて、で実用化されました。で最初の起源がどうしても原爆なんですよね。で人を殺傷するための武器として原子力が開発されて、でそれが戦後に原子力発電ということで平和利用に転化されたと。ただやっぱり一度武器として開発されたものを民間の方で利用するという時になった時に過去の経験っていうものがどうしても重くのしかかってくるというところは感じてます。なのでもちろん原発というのは人を殺すためのものでは全然ないし、むしろ人の豊かにするためと思って運営されているわけですけれども、ただどうしてもその開発の経緯というものが暗くのしかかってくるところがあるので、原発事故が起きた後もこちらに福島に住んでて、それまでは全然聞いたことなかったのに、突然みんな広島で自分行ったことがあるんだけども、被爆者の人からこういう話を聞いてこんなことがあったんだっていうことを皆さん口を揃えて言い始めるっていうのがあって、でそこで私も初めて広島長崎とその原発っていうのは切り離そうと思ってもどうしても切り離せないものがあるんじゃないかなというふうには感じてます。もちろんその武器と民生利用との違いっていうのは分かってますし、でそれによってその被害の差ですよね、健康への影響がどれくらい違うかというのもそれも理解してますけれども、やっぱり人間ってそんなに合理的に割り切って全てを判断するわけではないので、これは原発を考えていく上で忘れられがちなことではあるんですけれども、負の側面ですね、開発にまつわるそういうものっていうのをなくして切り離して全く考えるということもやっぱり不可能なんじゃないかなということは考えてます。So I would like to conclude my talk. Thank you for listening to today's third lecture. See you.